Okay, we are live, and this is a year-end special, December 31st, 2021, and it has been a wild year, to say the least. And we're going to share some thoughts on what happened and what is going to happen in 2022. We're going to talk about that because we predicted a wild year in 2021 at the end of 2020. And I think we were right on that one. Let's see if we're going to be right on 2022. And our WAG says, first, Craig, your email notification is working very well. Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. We're almost there. Absolutely. Lance is in the house. Hello, Craig, Bree, and all. Happy. Okay. And Kyle is in the house hanging out. He says, hey, guys. And Bree is in the house. Hello, all. Happy New Year. It's not quite New Year yet. We're getting there. Okay. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So 2021. Wild year. I saw a stat, and I'm not sure if it is accurate or not, but I have no reason to believe it's not accurate. I've seen it from several sources that in a 1 year period of time, I don't know if it was like from May 2020 to May 2021. I don't know what the 12-month period of time was, but during a 12-month period of time, 40% of the USD, US dollars, were created. I'm not going to say printed because they don't print them all now anymore. It's pretty much in a computer database. They just add zeros, right? They just create dollars out of thin air. But basically, 40% of all the dollars ever in circulation were printed or created in a 12-month period. So wrap your head around that, folks. Wrap your head around that. That is freaking amazing. Kyle's in the house. He says, rest in peace, Betty White. Hadn't heard about that. She was cool. So to give you some perspective on this, they talk about trillions of dollars. They throw around the number $1 trillion just willy-nilly, and trillions with an S now, and not just 1 trillion, right? They talk about $1 trillion here, $1 trillion there, pretty soon it's going to start adding up to real money. But to give you guys some perspective on this, actually, let me ask, I'm going to put a question out to the people that are viewing right now, the live viewers right now. If you were to spend $1 every second, okay, so that's $60 in a minute, okay, you do the math. If you were to spend $1 every second, okay, how long would it take you to spend $1 trillion? Little mind game here. How long would it take you to spend $1 trillion if you were spending $1 a second? And think about it. The best lawyers out there don't make $1 a second, right? That's $60 a minute. They can't even bill that much, right? But just think about it. How long would it take you to spend $1 trillion if you were to spend $1 every second? We're just trying to get some perspective on how much money $1 trillion actually is. Jason is in the house and he dresses like a trillionaire. He wears an 002 stunner. Let me just try to get a close up on the 002 stunner here. Let's get that in focus. There we go. The 002 stunner, and Jason has one. And but the question is, does he have a faux pay to go with it? Does he have a faux pay to go with it? And does he have a Bitcoin signet ring? That's the other question. Lance says 31,700 years. Yeah, I rounded off to 32,000 years, but you are correct. So it would take you 31,700 years to spend that $1 trillion if you're spending $1 every freaking minute. And who can spend $1 every minute? That ain't easy. Okay. Because nobody earns that much, right? Maybe the best football player, maybe. I don't know. But he certainly can't earn it for 31,000 years. We can't live that long, right? So just to put in perspective, that's a lot of freaking money. So And to compare $1 billion is only 32 years, right? So you would spend $1 every second for $1 billion. It's only 32 years. So it's 32 years versus 32,000 years. So people don't understand the difference between $1 billion and $1 trillion. So when these politicians go from talking about spending billions to talking about spending trillions, that is a huge leap. Okay. Ray is in the house and he says, good evening. And he said, Happy New Year to all. That is what I got, Lance, around 30,000 years. I wonder, Kyle's a healthy guy. I wonder if he's going to be able to live that long. He might be able to live that long. They say if you can live long enough, you might live forever. Because at some point they're going to come up with a pill that will end aging. Looking good, Craig. No faux pay or BTC ring yet. Haha. Okay. Well, we'll work on that. What's up, Kyle? Says Ray. And another Happy New Year from Kevin. And again, just a reminder, anybody that wants to be on the email list to get notifications when we're going live, just send an email to CraigShipp, CraigShipp @gmail.com, and we'll get you added to that list. It's a little bit chilly in here. I don't have the heat on, and so I'm wearing a suede vest. This vest is by Orvis. In this one, most of the vests I have a couple of Orvis vests. I like them. They are, most of them made in the USA. This one was made in India, but very high quality. All the stitching, the suede itself, everything is stellar quality. So I bought it anyway. I normally would not, but I don't mind buying something that's made, somewhere like India or of course Japan, Canada. I just don't like buying stuff made in China if I can avoid it, because a lot of the stuff is junk. It's not that I have anything against production in China, but a lot of it's junk. Of course, there's some good things. Spyderco makes some decent knives that come out of China, but I still like their ones that are made in Japan better. So let's see what else we got here. Kyle says, Kevin in the house. Yes. Does Orvis still make high quality gear? I'd be careful with that. A lot of the stuff they're making now, they've cheapened up. So be careful. Look things over. And that's my cautionary tale on all of these brand names that used to be pretty good, that used to really make some high quality stuff. A lot of them have cheapened things up. So watch it. Be careful. Examine. Look close. Brands like I've mentioned before, New Balance always made really good stuff. They made some really good shoes in the USA. They still make a few models in the USA, but a lot of them are not now. Of course, Timberland has gone completely down the tubes. Patagonia, North Face made some great foul weather gear, hiking gear, things like that. Back when they first got started, they were really focused on quality, and they've gone pretty much downhill. So you just got to be careful. Some of these things you can find new old stock. If you search them out, you can find in either new old stock or just mint condition on eBay. So just search them out. I would do a search, like, for example, North Face, and search your size, and then add made in USA. And do the same thing with Patagonia, your size, made in USA. And then set up the notifications so that you get a notification if something's listed on eBay that meets that criteria. And that way you can snag it before somebody else does. So the same thing, if you wanted to get like an Orvis vest, if you want to get one that's made in USA, just search Orvis vest and then put made in USA, put your size, made in USA. Mine are medium, but whatever your size is, and then, add made in USA. Eddie Bauer, the same thing, Kyle. Do a search, Eddie Bauer, whatever it is you want, and then just add made in USA. and then hopefully you'll be able to snag some of the good stuff. They used to make some good stuff. They really did. Jason's in the house. Timberland was nice up until the late 90s and then went to hell. Yeah, they made some really good stuff. I've got a couple of pairs of their Timberland boat shoes and similar shoes that I still have, that I literally bought in the early 80s, that are still fantastic. And I've shown some of them here on the channel, and I've got pictures of them all in my quality clothing photo set on Flickr, on my Flickr account, in case anybody wants to peruse those. Kyle Jett, I've always favored LL Bean and Orvis over Eddie Bauer. Yeah, LL Bean made a lot of really good stuff for many, many years. Again, it's another brand where you just got to watch it now. It's catch as catch can, and it is an issue. Okay, so getting back to the money printing, the money printer going burr, and all the things that have happened. One of the side effects has been watches, and let me go ahead and add this. Let me see if I can go to, yeah, here we go. Here's just a stunner that Grand Seiko came out with. This spring drive 5-day power reserve. I think just a cool watch, and it's, I think, 11.8 millimeters thick. So they've finally gotten to the point where they're making the spring drive thin enough that that could be an all-arounder. That could easily be an all-arounder. That's thinner than the Snowflake. Snowflake, I think, is like 12.6 mils or something like that. So this is under 12 millimeters thick, and I think it's a 40 mil watch. Correct me in the chat if it's not. But again, that watch is sold out most places, and it's kind of pricey. So everything is going up in price. Everything that you might want is going up in price. Real estate, gasoline for your car, food that you really want to eat. Of course, Bitcoin. Bitcoin almost doubled this year. It was around 30,000 at the beginning of the year. It's now, what, 47,000, 46,000, whatever. But, it was double. It went as high as 69,000 during the year. So anything that is limited supply and or desirable, like Rolex watches, everybody wants steel Rolex watches, right? And so you just can't buy them. And this is because the money printer's been going burr, and that they're flooding the system with dollars. Everybody's got dollars, and the dollars are chasing fewer items because of all the shutdowns and the government ordered shutdowns and so forth. Fewer items were produced, and so you have more money chasing fewer items. The price has to go up. That has to cause what we call inflation, and the official numbers are not even close to what the real numbers are. I think officially recently they said it's like 6.5% inflation. It's probably more like 20 or 30% inflation, depending on what you're buying. So, what about Columbia, Lands End? Columbia, that's lower tier. Lands End was kind of like a lower tier knockoff of LL Bean, but they did offer some good stuff back in the day. And again, if you search Lands End, made in USA, you might find some good stuff. But in Columbia, no, I think I'd stay away from that. The 007 is really great. There we go. Jason in the house. It doesn't pop as much as the Birch, though. Pretty flat blue and a lot of light, but a gorgeous piece. There you go. And trim on the wrist, right? I like that piece. I would take it over the Birch personally. Okay. And Ray in the house. Yes, my SLGA 007 is 40 millimeter. Love it more than the Spring SBGA 413. Now, it's thinner, correct? Is it thinner than the Spring? Let's talk about the thickness on these. I vastly prefer the spring drive. My Birch runs plus 10 seconds per day. What? Yeah, I couldn't live with that. No, that would go. I'd have to sell that. Not great for a brand new ground making mover. Yeah, no. That would have to go. That would have to go. What about Lord and Taylor? Yes, they had some really good stuff back in the day. I shopped at Lord and Taylor. Matter of fact, did this coat come from Lord and Taylor? No, this came from Macy's. This is this particular sport coat is camel hair, 100% camel hair, and it came from Macy's. But I bought some stuff from Lord and Taylor back in the day, and they had some good stuff. Absolutely. There were some local stores in the Mid Atlantic region here. Lewis and Thomas Salts was a big one that sold some good quality clothing. Unfortunately, a lot of those places are out of business. Yes, 11.7 millimeters thick. Yes, that's the way to go. I was able to get a ton of Lands' End stuff as all of the Sears were going out of business at huge discounts. There you go. I don't blame you for that. Agree, Ray. Series 9 design is so much nicer than the Spring. Okay. But I'll tell you what, they coming out with these fancy watches and all that. I don't think any of them trump the 002 Stunner, the 002 Stunner. And I'm telling you one thing right now. I believe that a high quality leather strap, not a junk strap, but a well-made strap. This one's by HD Straps, which was made to the original quality specs of the GS strap that came on it. If not, maybe even a step up, because the leather that's lining it is a little more robust than the soft leather. Let me answer this. This is the Danster. This is Dan. We are live celebrating the end of the year, December 31st. What's going on with you?
Well, obviously, I called it an inopportune time. I wanted to tell you I finally watched the movie that I had to watch before the end of the day, all 2 hours and 53 minutes of it.
Oh, my God.
My Fair Lady.
Oh, my God.
I think I'd seen it as a kid.
Oh, the opening scene was what I wanted to talk to you about, when he was taking down the notes, or the she was talking and he was taking down notes.
She was selling flowers and somehow they got destroyed.
But he was like eavesdropping, and he was writing notes in his little notebook, and then he uses like a shorthand, right? So that then he can read it back with her accent, right?
Right.
And they thought that he was like a detective or something. They didn't know what he was doing, right? He's writing stuff in this little book and all that. And the one guy looks at his boots and he said, "No, look at his boots. He's not a dick or detective, or well, they say that shorthand for detective, right? He's not a dick or whatever they call it, right?" And he could tell by his boots.
The ending, I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it since 1964, but she should have gone with the young guy who loved her.
Maybe, but he was a social climbing jerk. I mean, he didn't have any money. And there, it's not. I don't think the conclusion is that she ended up with him, with the professor Higgins. I think she was just going to continue to kind of like work with him or whatever. I don't think that we were.
They had like a friendly, semi-professional.
Yeah, I don't think it was a romantic thing between.
Clearly, I don't think he was interested in that.
Well, I don't know, but they left that kind of questionable, as to up to your imagination, I guess. But
I as close as you could in 1964.
I got the impression that it was definitely more of a platonic relationship, where he was kind of helping her, and it started out as a challenge, right? And then, a bet and all that, and that he could do it, right? And so, yeah, that was kind of like left unclear at the end, definitely. But
it was based on a 1913 play by George Bernard Shaw.
Okay.
And then that made into a musical. That was called a different name. He was the famous Irish playwright, author in the 1880s to his death in the early 1900s. So he wrote the play, but it was called a different name. That was the plot.
And that makes sense because the setting, you noticed some of them were horse-drawn carriages and stuff. So the setting was
England, yeah.
It was obviously the turn of the century time frame was the setting.
And it's an old story, and it's been made so many times. The two that immediately came to me, of course, Educating Rita is a similar plot with Michael Caine. That was a wonderful movie. And then Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Two guys making
but didn't you think that the music throughout was just really well done? The musical.
It was like high caliber West End or Broadway quality stuff. And a lot of those songs I didn't realize came from My Fair Lady, but I knew them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get Me to the Church on Time. I mean, all those classic, but I'm not a show tune guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure Professor.
But you don't think you wasted your 3 hours, or do you think you wasted your 3 hours?
I think this is something that I'm glad I watched.
Especially since they were taking it off the thing.
Like an important novel. Well, because you'd have never forgiven me. You've been nagging me.
I've forgiven you in the past.
Years.
I have forgiven you for not buying Bitcoin when I told you to buy it. I forgive you when you make mistakes. I forgave you for years when you kept using Android phones, even though you knew they were junk. So I'm a forgiving guy.
I'm on like 3 hours sleep, and I suffered through this 2 hour and 53. Let's both concede it could have probably been told in less than 2 hours and 53 minutes.
Yeah, but it was a lot of good scenes, a lot of good stuff in there. I like it. I'm going to watch it again. I
wonder if the what was the one with Julie Andrews?
Sound of Music. You talking about Sound of Music?
Yeah, the Dick Van Dyke character seems to borrow largely from the father in this movie.
Oh, well, Dick Van Dyke wasn't in Sound of Music. He was in, you're thinking about the other Julie Andrews one, the one, Mary Poppins.
Yeah, with the umbrellas.
Yeah, Mary Poppins, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I better get back to my live show. I'm actually being rude right now to my live viewers.
Well, let's go. We have another 2 hours and 49 minutes to talk about this.
Yeah.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Have a great show.
Carry on. Bye. So that was my buddy Dan McDermott, who generally does not take my advice, but he did take my advice, and he watched My Fair Lady because it's being taken off of Netflix. It's free on Netflix right now until the end of the year. So you got a couple more hours to check out the movie My Fair Lady on Netflix. A good one, a classic, a good one. I think everybody should have watched it. Okay, let's see here. I got to catch up on these. Did JCPenney ever sell Made in USA clothes? That's a good question. I would guess if you go back far enough, a lot of them did. Remember, a lot of the clothes were made in these United States for many years. We produced a lot of good high quality clothing and not so high quality clothing, but generally pretty decent stuff. Now you just got Oxford, I think, making suits, and that's about it. I don't know what else. Actually, there are a few more makers. I bought a swimsuit not too long ago that was made in California, believe it or not. So how bizarre is that? Ray, did you get that 007? Both pieces are stunners, but I would like a spring drive, so I'd go with the 007. 002, stunner, greater than all. Okay. Okay, I already read that one. My SLGA 007 is 0.5 seconds slow over 3-week daily wear. Flip side is killer looking too. Now, the slow would bother me a little bit, but that's so little bit that what you could do is you could set it a few seconds fast when you set it, and that way, it would literally take months for it to be slow again, right? Because it's only 0.5 seconds over 3 weeks. So that's good enough. I could go with that. Jason, is the 002 on wrist right now? Okay, there's a question. Craig, I got an email. Good. I'm here. Okay. Yep. Got a ring in the new year with the stunner. Okay. And Jason says, all right, gotta get to the NYE festivities. Okay, there you go. Have a good one. Evening Chip Tracy, Larry in the house. David's in the house. See you soon, Jason. David, Happy New Year. Okay. And David saying hi to Kyle. What are you wearing? What's on wrist, David? Do you have the Omega on wrist? Do tell. Sent in 2 watches. Okay, we'll take a look. I'm the chosen. Okay. All right, let's take a look at these watches. Let me switch back to the official timekeeping, and then we'll check these watches. Okay, here's a Crador in 18 karat gold and manual winding. Interesting, 37 mil, so not terribly small. That's a lot of watch for the money, folks. Let's go through the photos here. I kind of like the shape of the case. I kind of like the shape of those lugs. I like that bezel with that decoration around it. I kind of like that. I like the signed crown. I just like the profile of the watch. Doesn't look very thick. Some people are going to get bent out of shape that it says Crador Seiko, but that wouldn't bend me out of shape. And the stuff on the dial is okay. I can take or leave. I'd rather have a cleaner dial and Roman numerals I can take or leave. But my gosh, for the price, and I like the gold back case back. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. Let's see here. See what else we can find out about this piece. Mechanical manual wind, 37 mil. Doesn't say how thick it is, right? I wonder how thick it is. It doesn't look like it's terribly thick. Oh, it's got the general buckle, 18 karat gold. Didn't use it much. There's dirt, but there is dirt, but at a specialty store you can have it polished. I don't know what all that means. Would reduce the price. Okay. One of a kind item. 37. Oh, case thickness only 8.5 mils. Wow, that's hard to believe, but it could be. Definitely trim. Waterproof for everyday life. Okay. Whatever. Okay. All right. So, yeah, 2 thumbs up on that one. Let's check the next watch. Okay. This one, a Carl F. Butcherer, triple date and moon phase, vintage 18 karat yellow gold men's dress watch. $2,700.80. Can you imagine the money people are spending for steel watches when they have options like this out there? Let's see what these pictures look like. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. For the money, are you kidding me? Looks like it's kind of small. We'll see what the size is when we can figure this out. And again, a high quality leather strap, in my opinion, holds up pretty well. I've had good luck. This is wild. Nice and trim. Solid gold dress watch for this kind of money. And of course, it's a quartz, but I mean, my gosh, it's probably going to be bulletproof reliable. And it looks like it's a solid, well-made quartz. It looks like it's not a joke. See, for a grab and go dress watch, let's see what the size is of this thing. We can figure this out. Made in 1985. Oh, only 32 mil. Yeah, that would be for a lady. I'm sorry, but that would be for a lady. And 6 mils thick, nice and trim. That would be really cool for a lady. That would be a nice gift for the lovely lady. Yes. Yes, it would. And Dan texted, by the way, Audrey Hepburn was stunning in My Fair Lady. Yes, she was. Yes, she was. She didn't do the singing, though. Marnie Nixon did the singing. Okay, Jeepu's in the house. David Williams is wearing the autumn today. Let's see here. Bunch of Happy New Years. I'm going to go through these real quick. It's raining in Is it raining in LA? Sunny today, but it's been raining the past week. How about down south? Okay. Raining on and off in San Diego. I feel safer wearing one of those 18 karat gold dress watches in public than a steel Rolex or AP. Steel hype watches are scumbag magnets nowadays. Well, yeah, and these gold watches would look better too. I mean, now again, the one would be too small. I think it would have to be on a lady's wrist. But when you're wearing a gold stunner, it's a gold stunner. It's called a gold stunner for a reason. When I say a steel stunner, I'm being sarcastic. Steel watch is just basically a steel watch, is not a stunner. I mean, they're good. They have a use case, right? I've moved to titanium. I prefer it. It's more comfortable on wrist. But a steel watch has its place, but certainly not as a stunner. Pro tip: nobody gives a rat's rear end about your steel Rolex out in the general public. They don't give a rat's rear end about it. They don't see it as anything that special. Now you wear a nice gold, really high quality gold piece, and even somebody who doesn't know watches knows there's something a little special going on there. They know there's something a little special going on there. Maybe they can't put a finger on it, but they know. Good morning, Craig. Good morning, BWG. Happy 2022. Watching the show is how I'm starting the new year. Well, there you go. Well, unfortunately, we're not going to go until the new year. We're going to wrap before that, but you're wrapping up the old year on the show. That's what you're doing. Yeah, somebody was posting in one of the watch groups, one of these ugly watches, with all the screws, exposed screws on it and all that, the integrated bracelet and all that stuff, that, all the hypes all around those watches. Gerald Genta design, all this crap, right? And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, that kind of money for a steel watch? Are you out of your freaking gourd? You could actually buy a 18 karat yellow gold date 8 for that kind of money and have money left over and buy some Bitcoin. And then you'd have a gold stunner for life. I mean, for decades, a gold stunner, as opposed to some flash in the pan steel quote stunner that is going to go out of vogue probably in another 5 or 10 years. Nobody will want those watches. There's going to be a ton of steel watches laying around 10 or 20 years from now that people are going to think are valuable, but nobody's going to want them. Newsflash, nobody's going to want them. The vast majority of them, right? There might be a few that people will still want, but the vast majority of them, people aren't going to give a rat's rear end about. Yeah, so sell those steel watches at the top of the market. That's my advice, and I'm sticking to it. Let's see, a rubber appendage attached to a foot for underwater swimming. Okay. Good morning, Craig. Okay, I've already watched that. I already read that. Okay. Only people in the streets give rats about steel Rolexes are enthusiasts and armed robbers and the former isn't going to go up and compliment you about your watch. Good point. Chi-Town. Craig, is it 2022 where Lowbro 777 lives? I don't understand that question, but I'll think on it. Let's see. Forget the 5711 Nautilus and Royal joke. The real blue dialed bracelet stunner is the full platinum ice blue dial Rolex Date 840. There you go. If anyone is looking for a pre-owned GS silver dial, steel quartz in a super thin case, Little Treasure has a killer for a great price. Call Steve. Whoa. There you go. And it looks like Carlos is coming in. Looks like we're going to bring Carlos into the show. Let's see what we can do here. Carlos, can you hear me?
Hello, Craig. Good evening.
Hello. How come we don't have a video feed from you?
Uh, Let me.
Oh, there we go.
Hi.
There we go.
Now,
Where are you?
the
Can you
thing
turn the
is,
phone
I am in the phone and
horizontal?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Now,
perfect. Perfect. Where are
yeah,
you?
but the thing I need to put in my ear. Somehow I forgot to get the headphones.
Okay, take your time. Take your
Let
time.
me change to the other side, to the other camera.
And Derek says, can the world move past the freaking Daytona second? Yeah, but they were never that popular back in the day. The Daytonas were not that popular. Somebody's laughing out loud.
Okay.
And David says, hello, Carlos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm connecting just 1 minute to wish Happy New Year as soon as it happens.
Where are
And
you?
I am in New York now.
New York. Okay. Are you going to Times Square?
No, close
Smart
to the
man.
Soho. Close to the Soho.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, we are here. I am with my family and some friends. Yeah, having great weather and enjoying a lot, honestly.
Yeah, the weather's been mild here.
Yeah,
So
here
it's
too.
probably been pretty decent.
Yeah,
Did you have a
like
little bit of rain up there?
Like 3 days ago, we had some rain, but no, we are having very good weather today. Especially, the weather was especially good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that tomorrow, I think it's expected more or some rain, but so far, very happy with it.
What watch is on your wrist?
What in my wrist? I have the Doxa.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Let
You
me
don't want to take a risk. You wouldn't want to wear the Date 840 out there.
let me see. I don't know. I moved
I'm
something.
just seeing a black screen right now. I'm not seeing
Yeah.
anything from your
Uh,
phone.
I think that I moved the screen or something. But I think if I try to solve it now, probably I will get disconnected.
All right. Well, in
No,
any event, thank you for calling into the
yeah.
show. And here's wishing you an amazing 2022.
hmm Yes,
It's
the
going to
same
be
to
wild. It's going to
everybody.
be a wild
Yeah.
2022. We're going to talk next about what's going to happen in 2022, but it's going to be a wild one.
Yeah, yeah. But what I can say is that I was I found New York very good, or at least more or less regarding the homeless situation and the feeling of security, similar to 3 or 4 years ago. I'm not feeling worse situation, honestly. I was
Hmm.
expecting something worse, but I really find it great, and especially considering things that I've seen in Portland, especially, and
Well,
in LA, and
you're kind of a big, kind of an intimidating guy. So I think that the bad guys are
yeah,
going to kind of stay away
yes,
from
of
you.
course, but I was the same in 3 or 4. Yeah, I am not worried at all.
Yeah.
But the situation of the city and the feeling of the city Honestly, I am not feeling it as if it has been
Have you been
getting
in the
worse.
shopping have you been in the shopping district? Are there a
Yeah.
bunch of stores closed, or are they all open now, or
No,
what's the
no, everything is open. Everything is
Okay.
open. They ask for the vaccine certificate to go into almost any bar or restaurant and
Mhm.
most of the places, but it's great. The only thing that is new is that there are a lot of places for testing and for vaccine, and sometimes some those are, let's say, like 10, 15 people waiting for it. But yeah, but I am very happy how I found New York 3 or 4 years after since my last visit. It is good. Yeah, I am happy.
Excellent. All right, we're gonna let you go, but what I'm gonna
Okay.
show your somebody sent in a picture of your conquistador tattoo. So I'm gonna show that next on the show.
Okay.
But thank you for coming in.
Okay. Thank you and happy New Year and have a great night, everybody.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks again.
Okay.
Okay, so that was Carlos. That was Carlos. Now we're going to show his tattoo. This is an actual live photo of his tattoo, his conquistador tattoo. So there you go. That's how that whole thing works. Predictions for Bitcoin price in 2022. I think it's going to be wild. I think there's going to be some pumps and some dumps. I think we might hit 100,000. I'm not in the camp that says we're going to hit 2 or 300,000. I think we'll probably double, at least double from here. And I'm thinking that we will probably end the year double from here, but with some volatility in between. I don't think we're going to get the 80% pullbacks that we've gotten in the past. I think those are a thing of the past. I think that as the market cap increases, pullbacks are going to be less severe. I think in the 30 to 40% pullback range would be the max. And I think that Bitcoin's going to start slowly but surely getting a little more boring and having less major pullbacks and fewer major run-ups. Um, but I do think that people are going to start waking up that that Bitcoin is a good, solid, long-term store of value, and that more and more people are going to come to trust it for that. And so we're going to see less trading, less people trying to speculate on it and buy and sell and all that, and more people literally parking their money in it for long-term play, like the Michael Sellers of this world are doing. By the way, he just bought another almost $100 million worth of Bitcoin the other day at an average price of, I think he said $49,000 a Bitcoin, something like that. So he's still doubling and tripling down on Bitcoin. So I think more and more people are going to start becoming long-term buyers and holders of Bitcoin, and I think slowly but surely the speculating is going to wane, and I think that'll all be a good thing. Let's see. Sent you an email with a pre-owned GSP picture. We'll look at that, and I'll check. Cheetown, I think, sent another email. And let's see. Will Bitcoin be $1 million by 2023? I don't think so. I think that maybe by 2028. Yeah, I think this is going to take longer. It's going to take longer for people to grasp Bitcoin than a lot of us think. I think some people, it literally takes years for them to understand it. The gentleman I was just talking to on the phone earlier, I've been telling him about Bitcoin for almost 8 years now, and he still doesn't get it. I've been telling Steve about Bitcoin for 5 years now, almost 5 years, and he doesn't have Bitcoin and he doesn't accept it yet at Little Treasury. So it takes people a while, I think, to understand this technology and then to take action. So I think everything's going to take longer than we think it's going to take. Craig, when are you going to cash in on some BTC and flex the solid gold Prius 12 mile per gallon due to weight? Not going to do it. Not going to sell the Bitcoin. Nope. Going to keep the Bitcoin. Kyle's in the house. Good question by Boozer. Okay. And sounds about right. Okay. All right. So let's check here and see what we've got in the way of email that came in. Okay, so this is a, he says a Japan issue unit. He says he does not know the model on it. So if anybody else can share, if you know anything more about this particular piece, let us know in the chat. Trying to get back to email. My trackpad is acting up. Okay, so this is a take your pick email. Let me show it here. Of course, that is a stunner. And if you can get past the weight of a platinum day date, I think they're just stunning. They're absolutely stunning. Again, I would go with yellow gold every single time. But Michael Saylor has a platinum day date. His has the black dial on it. But if you have to have steel color, if you will, the white color, then I definitely think platinum is a good choice, because it talk about robust, talk about tough stuff. I mean, that literally is going to last generations. And then that one, of course, that would be a pass. We would pass on an ugly watch. We don't buy ugly watches, no matter how popular they are. Why would you want a watch with an integrated bracelet and a goofy case shape like that when you can have that? That versus that. Come on, guys. Let's be realistic. This versus this. This is not rocket science, folks. This is not a tough call. And even a rocket scientist, Michael Saylor, who bought one of these watches, says that it was not a call that required the intellect and the intelligence of a rocket scientist. It was an easy call. Let's see here. Lamont says, word all. And let's see. Lobro Joe 7 says there, where Carlos said is a beautiful area. Soho is way more interesting district than Times Square. It's small town vibes with big city conveniences. I highly recommend it for first timers. There you go. Okay. And let's see. Maybe SBGY003. Okay. Craig, if BTC doubles, couldn't you buy Grand Seiko and have them build watches to your spec? You know, here's the thing about Grand Seiko. I mean, all they have to do is ask, and I could give them some guidance that they'd really have a stunning lineup, a stunning, what I would call a core lineup of maybe 4 or 5 watches. The 002 would be right at the top of that lineup. And then of course, the 231, the new version of that, would be right in the lineup. I'd make a few modifications, nothing major. I would probably make a 40 mil version of that same watch. And I'd get them thinner. Okay, with the new movement, I'd get them as thin as possible. So there's some things that we would do that they would have a core lineup that is just absolutely amazing. Now, to be selfish, I've already got pretty much the ideal watch on my wrist right now. There's really nothing I would change about the 002 Stunner. I mean, it is just absolutely freaking amazing. The size is perfect for me. Now, they should offer it in a slightly smaller size for people with smaller wrists. They should offer this in maybe a 37 mil. I don't think they need to go down to 36 mil. I think they should offer this in like a 37 mil. This is 38.5 mil. So if they offered it in like 37 mil as well, that would be cool. I think they should offer a thinner version without the display case back. With the gold, if you put the gold case back on it, I think it could be a little thinner. And I think they should offer it that way as well. And that's probably the one that I would have bought if I had the choice, because I don't need the display back. I never look at the movement, literally never. Of course, that's where the power reserve is, but I never look at that. I just wind the watch. I don't need to look at it. I just keep it wound, right? So to me, I don't need the display case back, but that's kind of nitpicking, right? It's fine. It's fine. It's not really a downside. But yeah, my gosh, we could come up with a line of watches that would be absolutely freaking stunning, absolutely stunning if we collaborated. But they don't want to hear anything I have to say. I just don't like the day-date without the fluted bezel. I would go with Brett's white gold day-date all day over the platinum for that reason alone, or just buy the yellow gold and call it a day. Yeah, just buy the yellow gold. Good to see Lamont finally go out of prison. Okay. But the 03 is way over retail. Craig, did you used to go to New York when Times Square was still a seedy district? We didn't generally go to Times Square. When I went up there, we just went up there for day trips, mainly for shopping. And then sometimes we would go into the theater district and watch a show at the end of the evening, maybe have dinner and watch a show. But we didn't typically go to Times Square. So I can't really comment on what it was like. And when I was going there, it was typically the early to mid 80s was when we were making our road trips up there to do some shopping. And I only went up there maybe half dozen times over that time frame. Maybe not even that many, maybe only 3 or 4 times. You know, once a year or so, we'd go up and do some shopping. Because remember, back then you didn't have the internet. You couldn't buy things online. You didn't, and if we didn't have local stores that had what we wanted, like for example, for the longest time there wasn't a Burberry store in Washington, D.C. They finally put one in, but for a longest time there wasn't a Burberry store in DC. And also, even once they put the Burberry store in DC, it didn't have the selection of the Burberry store up in New York. So we like to go to the Burberry store. We like to go to Solka and Company. They didn't have a Solka and Company in DC. We went to Church's Shoes. They didn't have one in DC. I bought several pairs of Church's shoes up there in New York. So we specifically went up there to buy things. I hope Joe Kirk is at the next event. I have to beg for them to create what I want. I hear you. He won't listen to you though, unfortunately. Tim's in the house. Tim also says he prefers non-display case backs because you get more gold. Well, plus they can generally make them a little bit thinner. The whole watch is going to be a little bit thinner. The fact that you get a little more gold, that really is immaterial because you're not getting that much gold to start with. There is not that much gold in these gold watches. When you're paying for a gold watch, a very small portion of that is the actual gold itself. It's the fact that they have to work with the gold, and it takes more talent and takes more time and more security and all that. That all adds to the price. But if you melt it down just for the gold, there ain't that much gold. So there you go. Rest in peace, Betty White. Craig, did you know her? No, I did not. No, I did not. Yes, yellow is the best. Craig, if you could have only one current production steel Rolex, what would it be? Well, are you going to count the Yachtmaster with the platinum bezel as steel? That would be my first choice if you would allow me to select that, even though it has a platinum bezel. Probably the one with the blue dial. If I have to go all steel, that's a tough one because even at Datejust, I would rather have the white gold fluted bezel on it. Do they even still make the Datejust with like an engine turn bezel? That would be a possibility. An all steel Datejust with a Jubilee bracelet. That would be a possibility. Yeah. Because I wouldn't buy the sub. I still don't like the case on the sub, even though they soften the lugs. It's still too slab-sided and rough-sided and all that. I like the more rounded case of the Yachtmaster. So yeah, that's my thoughts just off the top of my head on all that. Craig, she was less than 3 weeks from 100. Whoa, Whoa. Yeah, Bree and I were talking about Kirk Douglas the other day, and he lived to be 103. Because, oh, by the way, have you guys watched the movie The Game with Michael Douglas? That is a wild movie, and he's wearing a signet ring that's similar to mine in design. He's wearing a signet ring in the movie, and he's also wearing Oxford suits. At least one of the suits was clearly an Oxford suit. You could tell by the lapels. Um, so that was a pretty cool movie, and I don't know what that watch was he had. I think it was a gold watch, and it was inscribed on the back. It was square with a bracelet. But maybe somebody can let me know in the chat who made that watch that was in that movie, The Game with Michael Douglas. Somebody's laughing out loud. He ended up hawking it down in Mexico, I think, to get some money so he could get back home. So maybe that's where that meme has come from, that you have to hawk your watch, right, to get home. And Happy New Year from Megan. Okay, it's almost time to wrap the show with Megan in the house. Craig, what do you think of Oyster Flex? Not a fan. I don't see any need for it. Most of the sport watches have decent bracelets. I would just go with a bracelet. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's an okay thing. I haven't really examined them that much, but I don't particularly think they look that great. I think the Rolex bracelets look fine. They just only come in fluted or smooth bezels. Let's say you could have a Rolex with a precious metal bezel. Would it be the Yachtmaster 40 blue dial? Yes. Yeah, that would be the way I would go. Like I say, either that or the Datejust with the white gold fluted bezel. If that's allowed in my choice, I would go with that. I'm not a fan of the smooth bezel on the Datejust just because talk about a scratch magnet, you know? So the fluted bezel doesn't show any scratches, and it looks great. It's not that much more money, right? By the time you're up in that kind of stratosphere of money, what the hell? What's another $500 or $600 or whatever it is? The Game is great. I showed it to Leslie a while back. She hadn't seen it. Yeah, it is wild. That ending is freaking wild when he jumps off the building. Oh, spoiler alert. Okay, I'm not going to say what happened. But anyway, anybody that hasn't watched the Game, you need to watch it. If you were to get a gold necklace, what style would it be? A Cuban or faux pay? I like the Cuban ones, but I think the faux pay would be more comfortable. I don't know what thicknesses the faux pay bracelet comes in. A necklace, I mean. I would want to get one a little bit thicker than the one that Brianna has, but I'm really just not a necklace guy. So I've thought about it because, hey, I've got the bracelet, I've got the watch. I mean, I've got a ring, right? I thought about going full gangster and having like a gold necklace as well. But yeah, I think the Cuban would be cool. And I think a faux pay, depending on the size, might be cool. And it would, of course, go with this one. And I love this faux pay. And Brianna's faux pay necklace is just freaking gorgeous. It's absolutely stunning. Craig, who do you think was the best dressed dictator? Was it Brezhnev, Saddam, or Tito? That's a good question. That's a really good question. I never paid that much attention to how they dressed. That's a very good question. I can't really honestly say because I didn't pay that much attention to them. In fact, Kirk Douglas hijacked the name Douglas. It's not their family name. Yeah, well, he's Jewish. For that reason, Michael Keaton had to rename himself. Keaton's real family name is Douglas. Oh, really? Interesting. That is very interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But actors often, change their names, especially if they had a Jewish name back in the day. That JDM watch shown before might be the SBGX 331, a stainless steel 38 millimeter times 10.4 millimeter case with the 9F61 movement. Visit Steve Little Treasures, check it out. Cool. Cool. Yeah, that is That is stunning. That is a stunning piece. Does he still have that? Because he had that when we were at the event, and it was aggressively priced. I'm shocked if he still has that watch in stock. That's a cool watch. It's basically this watch with the quartz movement, right? In steel. Craig, do you like Cartier? No. Or Cartier? I don't know what that is. Did you mean Cartier? I don't know. I don't know what you mean on that. Okay. Send an email to watch in the game. Okay, let's check it out. Let's check it out. Okay, there it is. And I can't really tell what it is. Is it a Hamilton? Or Longines? What is it? I can't read what it says on the dial. There's the inscription on the back. So interesting. Wouldn't be what I would have picked if I was a super rich guy, but obviously it was a gift, right? Oh, it was a Patek. Oh, it was a Patek, the Tiffany and Company dial. Well, my gosh, why couldn't they have picked a more attractive looking Patek? There were a lot of better looking options than that. Don't know what they were thinking. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking half the time. To buy a date just for the you buy a date just for the Jubilee bracelet and fluted bezel. If you want a smooth bezel and oyster bracelet, then buy the oyster perpetual. I agree. I don't understand people buying date justs with an oyster bracelet. I don't get that. I just don't get it. Somebody was sharing one in one of the forums the other day, a steel and gold date just with a smooth bezel and a oyster bracelet. And I'm like, what were you thinking? They bought it from the watch box. Carlos, are you here? Virtual hug. He was here. Craig, what car did you drive to the dealership to buy your Prius? Let me think. Had I already sold the I don't think I'd already sold the LS 430. I think I drove the LS 430 sedan, the Lexus LS sedan. It was a 2002 Lexus LS sedan. I think I still had it. I would have driven it to the dealership to get the Prius, and then I sold the LS 430 to a friend of mine who lived in Northern Virginia, and he actually paid cash money for it. But I had to have the lettering and all taken off of it first. I had the guy that does all my lettering and all that take off the lettering, and there wasn't any fading or anything where the lettering was, because the car had always been garage kept. It was only 2 years old, so it looked like brand new. It was a light blue color. And so, yeah, I'm pretty sure I drove it to the dealership to get the Prius, and then had the lettering removed, and then a couple days later or whatever, my buddy bought it, and I think he still has it actually. Guys who buy just 41s with oyster bracelets and oyster bracelets because they wanted a sports model, but they couldn't get one, so they bought that configuration as a compromise. Yeah, mistake. Big mistake. I'm guessing it was a V8. Oh, the LS 430? Yeah. Yeah, it's a V8. Yeah. I mean, smooth bezels and oyster bracelets. Yes. Big mistake. Craig, I hear on ID Guy chat, I hear on ID Guy chat, did you really buy the Acura NSX? No, I never bought an Acura NSX. Okay, we're going to wrap it up. It's been an hour. We've been going for an hour. Actually, officially an hour and 4 minutes. Chi-Town, Was the LS430 the best big car you owned? He's trying to extend the show, I think. The best new car, yes, by far. Not a close call. It was an amazing car. I had an LS400 that I bought from my uncle used that I had before I had the LS430, and it was a fantastic car. I sold it with just over 100,000 miles on it. It was maroon with maroon leather, which was a rare color combination on those. And that was the 1990 was the first year they made the LS400. That was an amazing car. Amazing car. Prior to that, probably the most comfortable car I've ever owned. The seats were just amazing in it. Whereas the 1965 Cadillac Fleetwood that I had, the seats were like this thick, right? That thing was absolutely amazing. My 68 Bonneville Brougham that was loaded to the gills with the 428 with the dual exhaust and everything. That was a pretty amazing car. And that was a 4-door hardtop. So yeah, I had some pretty comfortable, amazing cars back in the day. Let's see, Cheetown. LS was an amazing sedan. Mercedes and BMW fans go into massive coping meltdowns over that car. Yeah, I mean, imagine having a car pretty much as luxurious as a Mercedes or a BMW and as solid and drives pretty much as good, but with the reliability of a Toyota. Imagine that. That's what you had with the Lexus LS sedan back in the day. I wouldn't buy the newer ones now. The last Lexus sedan that I would buy would be an LS460, an LS460. I don't like the new designs of the front end of them and all that. I think they kind of screwed them up. And when they started putting the low profile tires on them, that's a total fail. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks again. Hey, this is wrapping up 2021. Amazing. 2021. Next year is going to be wild. It's going to be a wild ride. I'm going to be holding fast. I'm going to be holding my Bitcoin, holding it fast, and we're gonna ride it out. We're gonna ride out the storms. Let's see. Cheetown says Lexus still the best cars to own long term. The new design is really bad. Yeah, thank God we can buy some older ones in great shape. I hope they correct that in the next one. They may not listen to us, Kyle. Happy New Year, Craig and crew. See you all next time. And what were we thinking with those front grills? Good question. All right. We are out of here. Thanks for watching. I'm hungry. Carry on, everybody.